Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Now it's in all the news and it's been going on for a few days, maybe 4 days, 5 days, maybe a week, talking about exercise swift response. If you've been following the news, exercise swift response is a joint operation, a joint border security exercise with customs, military, even I don't have any problem because I have the spokesperson for customs, Mr. Joseph Atta, his deputy controller of customs. It's our pleasure to have you.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
And right next to him, we have Mr. Ismail Anemo, who is former president of the Nigerian World Association of Maritime Journalists of Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming on as well.
It's my pleasure.
Really appreciate you guys. Now, sir, well, a lot of people seem to be, quote unquote, up in arms because of the work that you people are doing. That is to say, close the semi border, the economy is slowing down, everything is grinding to a halt. I can see that that's not the way you look at this matter. First of all, give me, why are people saying that? Because definitely there's been a big change in how we used to access, both countries through the borders. But it's not semi-border alone now.
Wow, you've said it, you've nailed it. I'm not surprised that semi-border appears to be the
sort of focus. Oh, a lot.
The much sung about border. One, because it represents a major corridor, trade corridor in the ECOWAS sub-region. And more importantly, the fact that in Nigeria, if you talk about journalism, if you talk about media, Lagos is the hub. And therefore, there is that focus on what is closest to them. People seem to forget the fact that there is a border called Jibia in Katsina, Ilela in Sokoto, Umfum, Kamba in Birnin Kebbi, and so many others. We have over 70 approved border stations in Nigeria.
Okay.
But
bordering us and other countries.
Other countries. So as we are doing this, we are doing it in Jibia, in Ilela, in Mfum, in Kamba, so many.
About 25 states, I read.
Yeah, exactly. So
going on simultaneously.
Exactly. So it's not about seme. Let somebody begin to think that a particular border or country is the target. No. It's affecting every other neighbors that are bordering us in this 4 geographical region. Okay. Having said that, why did we have to do this?
Yes, what is the objective?
If you've been in this country for some years now, you agree with me that there have been emerging security challenges, not even talking about actions that are affecting negatively our economic development. Now talking about terrorism, talking about armed banditry, smuggling, illegal migration, all of which have added up to make our lives and properties less secure or less secure. So no responsible government, no responsible national security architecture will fold its hands and allow such thing to go on. So the Office of the National Security Advisor pulled security forces together in a joint security exercise. Okay. The whole aim of this is to step up our state of preparedness to deal with these challenges in the interest of national economy and security.
Just a quick follow-up. This is what you guys do normally. Why did it take an exercise like this? And I think that is part of why there's the whole hullabaloo. The fact that, well, you guys that are actually on the field will know better, but reading about it, they say, look, with this added, shall we say, strength to the operation of customs, then things are done a lot more, perhaps is thorough the word, in a more thorough fashion, but now there's so many layers of searches now, this is causing all sorts of delays. That is the way it is going. Why is it now that we're doing this? Because if you'd been doing it all along, there wouldn't have been this need, and people have become used to, oh, it's very strict, or you can't go on Nigerian borders anyhow. Apparently, that was not the way it was, and it is now that people are shouting.
Well, I think that any time, or should I say every time, is right when there is need to do a particular thing to get it right. So it is right that it's today. It could be yesterday, it could be today, it could be tomorrow. The fact is that a time has come when the Nigerian government, the Nigerian security forces need to be decisive, take decisive action to better police our borders. Okay. Do not forget that Nigeria is a very big country in this region. Okay. We have long, winding, largely porous border. We have so many unapproved routes that smugglers take advantage of. With that, it's been near impossible for the Nigerian Customs Service, for instance, to be able to effectively, even if you bring all the officers and men of the Nigerian Customs Service to hold their hands, they are not likely to cover 1/3 of the country.
But surely technology is helpful.
I'm coming to that. So this exercise on the immediate is an attempt to kind of beef up the capacity to police this border, because the pull together means increased number of operatives, increased number of equipment, logistics, and of course technology to effectively police, especially this unknown or unregistered or what we call unapproved routes, to ensure that those who do not wish us well, those who always take advantage of this kind of routes to bring things that could compromise our economy and security, do not have their way. Okay. And in the process of doing this, more importantly, certain things will be discovered. Certain routes will be discovered. Those places that were hitherto not accessible, for instance, with greater might, stronger might now brought to bear, those places will be accessed. Okay. And certain things will give rise to a decision going forward that will be taken in a way, including acquisition of non-intrusive equipment to man these places going forward.
Okay, Mr. Niemo, you evidently are very conversant with the operations of customs because of the nature of your profession. I introduced you as a former president of the Association of Maritime Journalists, so you know how they do what they do, and also the stakeholders, the players. What is your sense of how well stakeholders cooperate with our laws, especially as it relates to the border, and naturally would then have affected the NCS? Is it that people are constantly looking for leakages, loopholes to exploit, or I mean, how? Surely there are maritime operators. Surely there must be upstanding members of society among them.
Yeah, there are. Firstly, you must appreciate that everybody that comes into business wants to make profit. And if
within the law?
No.
Just let's start with profit.
Everybody,
forget everything
whoever
else.
is coming
Profit
into business
first
wants to make profit.
Okay.
And if there are leakages that gives them advantage to maximize more profit, even if these leakages appear unlawful, tendencies are that people may be tempted to take advantage of such leakages.
Human nature being what it is.
Yes, I think this is why society has put checks in place for institutions to prevent such abuses. I'm not saying that the maritime industry do not have an array of credible and upright practitioners and investors. But you know, if you look at the nature of anti-smuggling operation now, because we're talking about the border, what we are facing here is not just economic, not just general insecurity as we see it. There's also economic insecurity, where importations that undermine the growth and good of the Nigerian economy are seemingly encouraged by neighbor countries, and there's obvious or flagrant violation of ECOWAS protocol, and there is unlawful shipment, because the word smuggling is used and used and used, unlawful shipment of these things into Nigeria. If we can even take them commodity by commodity. We have had cause to see where arms come concealed. We've had cause to see ammunition, drugs that are very dangerous to health. Even as at yesterday, seizures of drugs were shown. And we had cause to see rice in very unimaginable quantity.
Yes, yes.
The more you seize, the more they keep coming. I'm constrained to not to mention countries, but it appears Thailand is using neighbor countries as a pipe to assault Nigeria with massive shipment of rice. And with such assault, no matter the degree of investment you make for rice,
It's been threatened.
it's been threatened.
Exactly.
It's been threatened, and your neighbor is the conduit. They cannot access you directly, and unfortunately, you don't choose your neighbor. They are bestowed on you by nature. So going back to where we started from, the tendencies are that people will abide by rules, they will obey laws when they know that if they deviate, they may be caught, and the very long arms of the law will pin them down to face the music for their deviance. So we are caught up in this. One thing I must applaud what is going on now is the change of strategy. We've been, as a country, we've had cause to lament that our security operations look too monotonous, the same way all the time. We've talked about, if you follow social media debate and trending issues sometimes, talk about something must be done to address it. I see Operation Exercise Swift Response as a change of strategy coming with some element of surprise, because it is obviously biting. We are not expecting it to come rosy for everybody. We are not expecting it to put smiles on our faces, but somehow people with intentions that may not favor our safety and security and our economic well-being will definitely not like what is ongoing.
How would you? Yeah, I know that you know it's an interesting question to ask because you're part of it. I was going to ask how you would assess the success so far of what's going on, and whether you are having to adapt as you go along. Have you been surprised by the outcry about just the sheer inconvenience to people as a result of this new measure? They've been used to going about their way in a particular kind of way, and people are saying, excuse me, please, things are a bit different, and people don't like that.
I think the cry has been louder than the reality on ground. No sooner had we started that, we started hearing that, oh, it's a total closure, you can't go in, you can't come out. And they realized that it wasn't a total closure.
Okay.
You can, I mean, as we speak, people can go out and come in as long as you have your documents. You have your passport, ID card, and now even ECOWAS biometric card has been added onto it. So any of this could enable you go out and come in.
So in that sense, the semi-border was never closed.
It was never closed.
In that sense?
Yes, in that sense.
In the sense
in that
of
sense.
being able to go and come
Yes.
legitimately.
Yes.
Legitimately.
So if you qualify it by the word partially closed, maybe because of the restriction now, yes, you may be right.
And the restriction was about people just walking across. That was the one that is now being restricted.
The real question,
just walking, as we like to say locally, just walking anyhow across. That one is not,
exactly.
just walking across anyhow is not allowed.
So which country will allow people walking across anyhow, either in or out? It then means that any person with dubious intention can come in. To answer your question, whether there have been achievements,
Yeah, what
yes, there have been quite tremendous achievements. As at whatever statistics I'm mentioning now was given to me just a day before yesterday.
Okay.
It could have increased,
Yes,
or maybe some are happening as we speak. Already, we've arrested 33 illegal immigrants. You can only imagine if 7 out of these 33, or just 3 out of these 33, their intention for coming into Nigeria is to cause mayhem, or to do anything that could compromise our security.
When we say
So 33 have been arrested.
when you say when you say arresting 33 illegal immigrants, you're talking about people trying to gain entry into Nigeria
to Nigeria without any valid reason, any valid document, or either coming through unapproved routes into Nigeria
and being apprehended.
I mean, before now, Nigerians have always been saying, where are these people coming from? These people doing kidnapping, these people doing that. And that is what is happening. We are responding to those kind of public outcry.
And 33 were stopped.
Ensuring that people who have no reason to be in this country don't just gain entry into this country.
Okay.
Ensuring that things that can harm us, harm our lives, harm our security, harm our economy is not allowed to come into this country. Talking about the rights that he was mentioning earlier on, we've arrested or seized over 3,000 bags of rice. As at yesterday, we've recorded 59 NPK fertilizers. Those are raw materials for all these improvised explosives here and there. I'm not talking about petroleum and other products that have already been seized.
About that.
So it's huge success already. And as the exercise progress, we hope to record more.
Now, sustainability is another thing that people are going to come up with wondering about. Say, look, right now, it's an operation. So because of that, whoever is of this criminal intention will know that, you know, things are a bit different now at the Nigeria border. So, but I'm just concerned about, like, some things that happen in our society. When the operation is over, will we go back to normal? Because evidently customs needed help, was why it was joined by other arms of government for this. How are we going to protect the gains that we are making now?
Now, beyond the statistics I've just reviewed, I think the most important aspect of this exercise to officers and men of the security agencies is the fact that it provides a platform for unity, for bonding. We are
within the services.
Within the services. We see ourselves that, even though we might be divided by the colors of the uniform we wear, we are united in protection of this country. We are united in the belief that Nigerians deserve to be protected. Nigeria as a nation deserves to be protected in such a way that it can grow to its full potential.
So working together,
so
instead of as cross purposes,
exactly,
as can sometimes happen between the services.
Exactly. So going forward, interagency collaboration will be more robust, and quick intervention can be provided for any agency that needs such intervention. And of course, the gain of this will be that in the process, there will be things that will be discovered. The managers of this exercise are taking notes, observations that are being submitted, and necessary actions will be taken.
Indeed, and that's an important point, isn't it? Because all of this is under the supervision of the NSA, if I get it right. And as he was just saying, reports are going back, and in fact, it was again brought to the fore that Nigeria's semi-border had not been closed when I read something that the NSA had not ordered it closed, and I think the implication was that that's the supervisory organ, and he would know if any border were to be closed. That office would know, and so there's no such thing. But the point he made about there will be discoveries made as a result of this exercise. That's one benefit, because it's like the exercises that this military makes. I'm imagining only this time is actually live. It's the real thing. It's not a training. Sometimes you hear military guys in an exercise, and we know that it is like playing soldiers or playing military. But no. This is the real thing. And probably there will be things to learn, maybe new illegal borders. Do you see that as part of what could come out of this if well managed? Fresh discoveries.
You use the word illegal borders. Maybe you wanted to say unapproved routes.
Okay, yeah, because, unapproved routes. Good. Meaning that, what's the import of what you've just said? That the entire, the border is like almost like limitless, right?
Yes, yeah,
like
we have
it just goes
the geography
on
of Nigeria
and on.
is such that we have a vast borderline with neighbor countries. And
so as you were saying, unapproved
routes,
entry
there are
routes.
approved border stations.
Yes.
And
Unapproved ones.
and people who do things that are shady, things that they wouldn't want you and I to see, or want to bring in things that are harmful to our health, injurious to the economy, will not want to go through approved routes.
Would not want
If they want to go through, they may do what you also call concealment. And it takes eagle eyes of security agencies in the course of examination, inspection to see these concealment. Maybe I need to shed some light here. Concealment, like you get drugs that are not registered with NAFDAC in compartments of vehicles where you could never imagine that drugs would be there. And you even get frozen chicken.
All of which are prohibited.
Yes, you get them in a very unwholesome package in compartment of vehicles that are unhealthy for human, that makes them unhealthy for human
consumption. It goes back to that all-powerful drive you spoke about earlier, the profit motive.
Yes. Then now, for the unapproved routes, they take the risk. But fortunately for us as a country, sometimes I think our security agencies are living up to expectation, but more need to be done. We've also had cause to suspect strongly that foreigners are invading our country, committing very, very heinous crimes. And we cannot say it's out of place to have our borders properly policed to ensure that people who are not approved to come into the country come in. Okay. We've had cases of kidnapping where the suspects are most likely not Nigerian nationals. And as a country, if our borders are not properly policed, it's like we are leaving our flanks open, we are leaving our citizens insecure, we are leaving our doors open for everybody to come in. And this is one area every Nigerian should appreciate, that we need to tighten our doors.
Indeed, indeed.
We really need to.
You know, coming back to you, Mr. Tak, of course, customs, we understand, well, we hope we do, we understand what the nature of their job is as different from the nature of the work of the immigration services. But why I'm sort of linking this, it's coming from what he's just said. You hear in other countries where the officials know certain banned individuals, people that are not allowed to enter their countries for whatever reasons. It has become policy, these guys. Do we have such organizations here where there are persona non grata, and if they were to show up at any of our borders, the men there would know instantly, oh, there you go, you know, and then they would engage? Or do we have a situation where we are hampered by a lack of technology and the lack of communication, and they might not know at one particular border, and as you have said, there are many others, that this man actually shouldn't be able to enter?
Well, I know that we could do better, but I also know that we have Interpol, and
okay.
when,
Let me interrupt
somebody
you
is of any questionable character.
Forgive me for interrupting you,
okay.
Because before you go too far, someone else has called in, so I want to take that call so I don't lose it, okay. And then we'll return. Okay. Good morning, Mr. George.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori, and
thank you for calling
also to the guest.
Yes, the customs PRO.
Yes, Uncle Yori, you asked a question. The security agencies have been at the borders all the while, and they are said to be doing their work. Why this kind of operation now? More so as it is the normal duty they are supposed to be doing there. You see, this is the area we are talking about corruption. It does not take the commander-in-chief to come and give you a special order to carry out your functions as a security agency. In fairness to customs, they are the only ones I see are those borders that are actually, since the new customs director came in, that actually you can see that they are doing their jobs, making arrests, showing things that they have confiscated and all that. But many a time I have traveled along this west coast up to Cote d'Ivoire. Now, the Nigerian border is the cheapest one to pass. Even those small countries that we cross, as small as they are, their entrance is more sophisticated than ours. I mean, the passage. But should it be so? Do we require the president to come and give the security agencies a special command before they do their work? How about border patrols? Do they need to be in one point? Only those who pass through that approved point can be accosted with any illegality? Don't they need to be going round? That is that. I want to ask the customs PRO there. When, some few months before the election, you made discoveries about guns, several guns were intercepted at the port. We didn't hear anything again. What happened to the people that were responsible?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. George. He has used the opportunity of seeing Mr. Attah this morning.
No, that's a good one.
Say that question.
That's a good one. I appreciate the fact that he complimented customs for the rising profile of the service under the current Comptroller General of Customs. And if you know that man well, probably there wouldn't have been need for the question that he asked.
Okay.
Certainly not under the current Comptroller General that something as dangerous, as sophisticated, as high profile as seizure of arms and ammunition will be swept under the carpet.
Okay.
Well, I'll have him know that in 2017, that's the one he was referring to, we did seize 2,671 pump action rifles. And
yeah, but the point he was made that we're not hearing anything about it again.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We seized that quantity, some from Apapa port, others from Tinkan. Thorough investigation was conducted. The one from Apapa, especially that one of 661 pump action rifle, that container that got out of Apapa port and was intercepted somewhere around Maitu. Upon investigation, 5 of our operatives were indicted. Not really because they were involved in the importation or whatever, but even for lack of due diligence in the process of examination, in whichever way, they were dismissed and handed over to be prosecuted along with the importers, with those behind the importation of that container. That prosecution is ongoing in the Federal High Court in Lagos up to today.
And the illegal arms?
And it's there.
The illegal
so
arms?
All of the other ones in Tinka, they're all in the court.
Okay.
So,
but how about the,
how
about the seized arms?
I'm coming.
Okay.
And those indicted were dismissed. And those who intercepted this container, I mean the 661 pump action rifle along Maitu, 7 of them were promoted.
Okay. Okay.
You're talking about a leader who will punish you instantly for doing wrong
and also reward when necessary.
When necessary.
Okay.
So that's the kind of.
But the illegality in the center of the matter, what were those ones destroyed? Were they confiscated? What? Because that's.
Of course, I told you they are seized and the case is ongoing.
The case is ongoing.
It's ongoing. So that's
okay.
That is no longer in the purview of customs until.
Chude in Ojodu, good morning. Is it Chudi? Good morning.
Yeah, Chidi from Kaduna.
Oh, Chidi.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and your guest.
Good morning, sir. Thank you.
Yes, it has been a while we have spoken over this program.
Okay, we're great. We're glad to have you.
Yes, this time around, talking about the border patrol and the security network around it, sir.
That's right.
I would want to urge the government to look at the present economic situation that the country has suddenly found itself in and see how they would only look at those things that might endanger the peace and the security of the country. If anything that has to do with goods and services that is meant for the common good of ordinary Nigerians, irrespective of class, creed, or political affiliation, I want to urge the Nigerian Customs exercise and other security apparatuses to do all that is necessary in order to ameliorate the problems that the Nigerian people are going through now, because there is hunger in the land. I want the government to be a listening one.
Okay.
For the benefit.
All right. Chidi, thank you very much for calling in. Got to go on a break now, but don't go anywhere, please. We'll be right back so that I can understand, how to put Chidi's request. Whether it was saying that, look, maybe you don't need to be strict on everything. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. And when we had to go away on break, Chidi had just called in from Kaduna, I believe. And, well, I didn't understand him, but I wonder if he was saying that, look, there's hunger in the land, maybe the operation, to take it a bit easy. And I didn't quite understand that. But in the meantime, Reverend Dominic, our friend, has called in. Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning, Yori. How are you?
Great to hear from you.
Yori, you made my day today. Your guest today impressed me a lot.
Okay.
And the impress is that we can see somebody to ask questions. The question I want to ask your guest, the custom officer, all this rice they seize every day, what they do with it? Two, rice is a contraband goods, but we buy it at every point in Lagos. Mm-hmm. We buy it every market. Mm-hmm. As the more they seize the rice, the more you seize in the market. What they do with this rice? It will be funny to you. I'm not happy with the custom service at all. Since 70s today, custom officers have been seizing goods. The more we see it in the market. One thing is that we must sanitize this custom exercise. They're not doing the right thing. If they're doing the right thing, there's some restraint to all we have banned that's in the market today. So the question, please allow me to answer it. Just have asked this question. What they do with the arms? What they do with the rice? Because we see the rice in the market every day.
Okay.
And every day we go to a warehouse, you see tons of rice, and we still see it in the market. What did they do with it? Please let me answer that question.
Okay. All right then, Mr. Atta. So what does customs do with seized goods? And then the ancillary part of it, how come the more you seize, the more we see on open markets? So it's not a black market, it's not underground. On open markets, what's going on?
Well, that's good. I'm happy that he acknowledges the fact that we seize, and when you go to our warehouses, there are tons and tons of rice. If you go to our Ikeja warehouse now, the warehouse itself is filled up, and you see pyramids.
Yes.
I would even say tons and tons again. It's pyramids of rice and all that.
Okay.
What do we do with the rice? Since early 2017, Mr. President, as a compassionate leader, directed that all seized rice and other perishable, especially relief items, things like rice, spaghetti, soap, clothes, shoes, should be taken to victims of insurgencies in the Northeast. Recently, he has also directed that, look, not only that place, we could also extend this. Another committee was inaugurated, and they're going from state to state, distributing this rice to orphanages and IDPs. That is, be it flood, fire disaster, communal clashes, whatever unfortunate thing that has happened and have made Nigerians displaced, those are the people that should be given these relief items. So the rice has been going to those kind
sources
of people. But as for the one that he said are in the market, that's what my co-discussant earlier on said. Custom keep seizing, smugglers keep bringing in. Some we catch, some we are not able to catch. It's like going fishing.
Well,
anti-smuggling operation is like going fishing.
Yes.
You cannot catch all the fishes in the river. Some we escape, with the active connivance of fellow Nigerians at the borderlines.
At the border itself.
They show them the routes to follow, and sometimes they escape our watch and cash. So,
because it seems that people think our processes are a soft touch. Say, no big deal. If it's Nigeria, let's go. Otherwise, you would say, why would people keep on coming when they hear us speaking that we're not going to stand for it, zero tolerance, but it still is coming. So it means they're not afraid of our borders.
That is why, for once, the security agencies of this country, under the coordination of the Office of the National Security Advisor, are saying enough is enough. We can come together and police these places. We can come together and reach those places that custom alone cannot reach. With the firepower, with the strength, with the increase in manpower, material, and resources, we can reach those places and say to these people, never again will our border be free for all comers. This is what we're doing.
Okay, I understand that. Yakub in Dokwemu, thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Joy.
Good morning.
And then good morning to your guest. For me, unauthorized border in this country is many. And then I don't think the custom services have manpower to mount all those borders. That is why you still find the foreign rice in our market. But apart from that, it's interesting for you to know that some of the custom wives, they hold shops in serious markets. That is not that is the truth. Because wherever they see
Wait a minute, Yakub. Wait a minute. Yes. Wait a minute. Let me hear what you just said. Did you say that some of the customs officers, they have wives, and their wives have shops in the markets?
Yes,
that's what you said.
Yes,
continue.
Yes, I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I know what I'm talking about. Before I say that, I know I have the facts.
Okay.
See, one thing is this. There's no how you can rip off corruption in custom services. We have some of the customs, they always do the diligence, and then they are very perfect, and then they are working perfect for Nigeria's government. But you still have some of them, they are saboteurs. That is the truth. Let me tell you this. Mr. George said something earlier, which is interesting for me to buttress some points in that aspect. He says, how come those guns that were seized then, what happened to the gun? And then even though we know what happened to the gun belongs to the federal government, they have already heard to it. But the people that brought this gun, what happened to them? And then the customs here in the studio...
Well, they just told us they were being prosecuted.
Yes, I'm going to somewhere. The customs in the studio says that the case is still in the court. Okay, there's no doubt about it. How come we did not watch it in this very particular studio? CCT, on the program called Crime Watch. We did not know what happened to those people because this kind of situation, Nigerian citizens should go to watch it live when it is going on because we need to know who brought all those guns. The Crime Watch in the CCT, I'm always following that very particular program. Then that particular program always tells us where the crime is committed, the court that they have been tried. We have never watched that very particular one. It is not shown to us. What happened? We need to know who brought those guns. Thank you and God bless you.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for calling in as well. Oh, okay, please.
Well, let me start by saying there's no law that prevents a custom officer's wife to have a store. I think the right question to ask is that what is she dealing on? What is she selling? And it's not every custom officer's wife that is a businesswoman. I, for one, my wife is a teacher. And it's not every custom officer's wife that lives in the city. So it doesn't... it calls to question why somebody will think that a custom officer's wife should not be a businesswoman. If she's not a smuggler, if she's doing her legitimate business, she's a Nigerian, she's entitled to owning a shop. So that's not a big deal. What the most important thing is,
but you see,
if a custom officer is found culpable or does anything wrong, what happens to him? Do we treat him with kid gloves? I've just told you about officers that were dismissed. I've told you about the ones that did the right thing and were promoted.
No, but what you're doing
That's
is
the system
you're refuting entirely
and I also
the
agree,
whole idea
I
that
also,
customs officers' wives stock their shops with seized contraband.
That's not what I've said. That's not what I've said.
Oh,
What I'm saying is that custom officers' wives, like every Nigerian, can
Have a
own
right.
a shop
Yes.
and sell things.
Yes.
The right question to ask will be, is she trading on smuggled items? If she does, then that shop should be raided. She should be arrested. So, but to make a blanket
it's
statement,
even a contradiction in terms.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree with you.
so
that's why I said that.
I do not want to. I don't want him to go away with the impression that custom officers' wife who own shops deal on smuggled items. No.
No. Okay, so that
Certainly,
really,
not all custom officers' wives are businesswomen. My wife is a teacher.
So
of course, there are custom officers who have wives who probably are business women, and they have right to do so. But they do not have right to be smugglers.
Indeed. So, well, okay, I hear you. I think you misunderstood me. I was saying that you refute that charge entirely.
Yeah, of course.
But you contradicted me. Say, no, that's not what I'm saying.
I
okay.
didn't get where we were headed.
Okay. So, Joshua in Irewole, good morning. Thank you for calling.
Okay. Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning.
And good morning to your guests.
Yes.
I'm happy about what we are hearing. And I want to commend the effort being made to sanitize the borders.
Good.
Very good. The PRO of Customs, wanting to know that he is the face to the public, is what we see of him, that we see of the organization. So if they are making moves to sanitize Customs, very good. And especially the borders. The idea of playing big brother to our neighboring countries, and then our people are hungry, I think is getting too much out of hand.
Good.
Because most of these countries are depending on us, dumping foreign goods on us, not even goods that are produced in their own country. Foreign goods. The problem is, if they want foreign rice for their own country, they should import it for their country. But they use their country as transit camps to dump things in our own country. This is the big issue. So please, customs should realize that they are playing a major role in sanitizing the country. Corruption is the reason why so many things are happening in the country. Once we can abate corruption to a reasonable extent, the country will be safe. And the borders especially. Criminals always think of escape before they perpetrate their crimes. Once they know that escape is difficult, it becomes difficult for them to perpetrate crimes. So our borders are sensitive and they are significant to the reduction of crime, even in the country. So I pray that they will continue to sustain the urge or the sanitization of the borders and reduce smuggling to the barest minimum.
Indeed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. I think he said it all.
Okay.
You see,
Joshua
people
in
make...
Irewole.
Joshua, yeah? Thank you very much, Joshua. Yes, corruption is a huge monster. And people seem to take corruption as giving bribe and all that. Look, helping smuggler to pass through unapproved route is corruption.
Certainly.
Even coming to intervene, protecting a smuggler and forming a mob to attack custom operative is corruption.
And that can happen from time to time.
Look, let me tell you.
You actually take on the customs officer.
Look, we know that smugglers buy handsets and give to some border community dwellers. And you see them riding machine, carrying nothing. You have no reason to arrest them. But they are moving. They are just monitoring the movement of customs anti-smuggling operatives.
And then giving
and then they place a call and say, look, customs are going to so place. When you are coming, don't follow this road. Follow the other way. You bust out of the other village, and then you hit the highway. They do this. And then when you see people inside the town, you say, where are the customs at the border?
Okay. All right.
Fellow Nigerians help some of these smugglers to succeed.
Tony, in Norway, good morning again. Good to hear from you. Tony, are you there?
Good morning, Uncle Yore.
Good morning, Tony.
Yeah, Uncle Yore, I'm there. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Uncle Yore. I want to contribute for what you people are discussing this morning.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
Okay. You know, this custom issue.
Mm-hmm.
As Dora Kola said, you know, they have good customs and they have the bad ones.
Yeah.
There are some customs are there. There are some customs are there for security. But they still have the corrupt ones.
Yes, sir.
So we know that because of those corrupt ones, we are not saying that all our customs service here is very bad. It's not very bad. I played that route for almost 7 years, from Lagos to Ghana.
Okay.
I know that, like what this custom, we are here to explain right now before you pick up my call. When I usually pass that road, I know that when we are passing at times, when the federal custom is coming, the local one that is in the state ones there, they will let us to know that the federal custom are coming. That we should wait. That the road is very hot now. When they are left, then we can pass. So there are still some state ones that they don't want to hear. They don't want to know. Don't come and don't come. Okay? So our custom service is bad, but it's not that it's too bad. You know? They are still doing their job.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you very much. I think we talk about it every day here. All the services have challenges. The challenge of, you know, a few bad eggs and all of that, we are aware of that. But that's what we're talking about here. That, look, in spite of that, we still have to be making the moves to show that it's not an impossible job and we can do this job. But I want to thank you very much, Tony, for calling in. Now, I'm just reminded, along the lines of, sometimes you can't but wonder whether all is well. I don't know if, you know, we're talking about rice, we're talking about generally the exercise, what's that exercise again?
Swift response.
The swift response exercise.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time when people smuggling in vehicles and you'd see convoy, a high-speed convoy, and that's going on. Those things, no more? No more? Or are these abnormalities still seen? Maybe you might have heard of these, especially on the outer axis, you know,
yes.
that particular axis. There are people that live around that area that know that at certain periods of time, they think, you see people you suspect to be ne'er-do-well smugglers, they are moving, and they think that the only reason they're not given any pursuit is that it's like a mutually agreed, at a certain time, it will be free, do whatever you need to do within that time, and so they're going to, hopefully, are those kind of things, first of all, did it exist? And secondly, if so, is there any chance that those kind of things can actually survive in this swift response, Operation Swift Response?
You see, let me start by saying that there's no institution that is created for corruption. There's no institution, again, that is corruption-free, right? I cannot sit in this studio and vouch for every custom officer.
Yes.
Amen. We are human beings first and foremost before we started wearing this uniform. Okay. We all have our DNA. Of course. There's this popular saying that out of every 12, there is a Judas. But then, let us not forget the 11 out of the 12 that are doing the right thing. So, if we have one out of that 12, the so-called Judas, what happens to him if he's caught? I think that is what is important. Is he glorified? Is he treated with kid globe?
Okay.
And I can tell you a big no. Such persons, when caught, are dealt with.
And we mustn't lose.
So what do we do?
Of the 11.
What do we
before the 12.
exactly?
We mustn't lose sight of the 11 before the last one.
We mustn't lose sight of the 11. And what can we do to encourage this 11 to work better? And that's where Nigerians come in. Exactly. Nigerians first and foremost need to see smuggling as a crime. As I'm talking to you, I can still tell you that there are so many Nigerians today who refuse to take or see smuggling as a crime.
They see it as just business.
As a business.
That is business.
And that is why when you arrest a smuggler, otherwise high-profile Nigeria will come to beg.
I will be calling.
Do you I mean, how do you call him? He's either a smuggler or an accomplice. And that is why when we are chasing smugglers, he runs into where there are people, and instead of the people to kind of expose him, they form a ring, hide him, and attack the operatives.
That is ignorance.
That tells you that they refuse to see smuggling as a crime.
As a crime.
And smuggling is indeed a crime, and it gives rise to other crimes and criminalities.
I've got to quickly squeeze in. Mazi Okorafo in Arochukwu, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. DC Joseph Atana and our dog in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You say, honestly, I wish to commend our border patrol team. Good. But the question now is that these Okada boys are doing more harm to our economy. There is need for, at least, let the custom people, border people, look for, at least, suggest to government for a drone or a helicopter, at least, for as a sort of means for surveillance in this way. Because the smuggling is affecting our baby industry. But what I want to find out from DC Joseph Atta,
yes.
Sir, now these exotic cars you people used to impound. How manage? We see all these exotic cars on television. Before you talk that Robinson, you don't know what is happening. Why? Do people return the car back to where they bought the car, or they just
Mazi Okorafo, I want to thank you very much. Thank you very much. Joseph, it's over to you.
I hope you are not a car dealer.
He's not.
Okay. Thank you for admitting that customs are doing a good job. You are just interested in knowing
what happens to those
car.
exotic cars,
and
for example.
No, it's not even asking for buses.
No,
it's the exotic ones.
The exotic cars especially. What happens to them?
Do we auction them? If yes, how can he get one?
Well, let's take it one step at a time.
In the small ones, the exotic ones.
It's the exotic one.
What happens?
Okay, I'll tell you. You see, as part of the reforms brought about by the current Controller General of Customs, when he came, he saw auctioning of seized items, especially vehicles and other ones, as one of those sources of corruption and one of those areas that have given rise to all sorts of name-calling and abuses and all sorts of attacks on the service. So he said, look, there will be no manual auctioning again. Henceforth, the auctioning process will be electronic. So he set up, a team of ICT experts to kind of develop a platform that things can be auctioned to people. A platform
in a randomized manner.
A platform that is secured. A platform that will provide equal opportunities to everybody to have it. Unlike before, when they would say, customs are auctioning to themselves, to their friends, to politicians, and now.
Now it's randomized.
With CGC,
along the lottery principle.
You need, first and foremost, to be a taxpayer. You must have TIN, tax identification number, obtained from the Federal Inland Revenue. And then you go to app.trade.gov.ng/e-auction. And then you fill in your documents, you go and pay, you bid. It's competitive. You are seeing the other person is seeing your own. Within at the duration period of 48 hours, the system is electronically shut down, and the winner emerges. He goes to pay, takes evidence of payment, goes to where the vehicle is, and picks his own vehicle. You don't need to know any customer officer. You don't need to be a politician. Whether you're a politician, whether you're a primary school teacher, once you can go through that process, you get it.
I want to thank you very much, Oga Joseph. Why didn't you let everybody know this thing before?
This thing is everywhere.
Well,
you see,
is this advertised?
One thing with us in Nigeria.
Yes.
By the time I leave this studio today,
and
I go to another studio tomorrow and I'm talking, they say, why didn't you say this?
They will still ask this question again.
We have a program on television every week. We are on social media.
So it is well known.
Everywhere.
Now we've known. So we're sorry. We're sorry we didn't know this. Mazi Okorafo that is calling in with
Mazi
question.
He did not know. Maybe his friend refused to tell him this. His friend who knows refused to tell him this. Many people know this and they are winning.
I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you very much for coming along, and also to wish you well in the rapid swift response. Thank you very much, the Deputy Controller of Customs, Joseph Atta, Customs PRO, and also to thank Ismail Aniemo. Mr. Aniemo is the former president of the Association of Maritime Journalists of Nigeria. He also is a publisher of The Journal magazine. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and I wish you all the best. Okay, so that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.